week, we begin with the morning meeting. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being part of the program. Hogan Gidley is here. Jaime Moore here. Gentlemen, welcome in.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Welcome.
I need to check because, we follow the Regis and Kathy Lee rule here. We never leave anything in the locker room. We have no communication pre-show because we don't leave anything in the locker room. We want everything to be spontaneous. Hogan, did you watch the entire Bad Bunny performance?
I did, but on YouTube after.
Okay. Jaime, did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I watched it twice, actually.
Okay, now be honest. Be honest. Did you instantly know that was Ricky Martin, and did you instantly know that was Lady Gaga? Like they came up, you're like, hey, there's Lady Gaga, there's Ricky Martin. Jaime.
Yes.
On both.
On both. Yep.
All right, Hogan.
Yes, obviously.
Obviously. Okay, I have to say,
I mean, they're two of the biggest stars. Like, what do you mean?
They are. Ricky Martin is more handsome than he was 20 years ago, I thought.
Yeah, he looks good.
I mean, he looks spectacular. That very handsome guy looks like Ricky Martin, but obviously it's not because he's found there's a fountain of youth located in Puerto Rico.
I hope so.
Deal? Is that the deal? Anyway, thank you for being part of Two-Way. If you'd like to be in on the conversation, please raise your hand. We have a lot of topics to get to today. Always being forward-looking, always based on the Network News Division's morning meetings where you think about what's coming up today, what's coming up this week. And on Mondays, we do the week ahead. There's some interesting events coming up later in the week. Then we'll have a big, robust conversation where Hogan and Jaime will reflect the spirit of peace, love, and understanding, always extending the presumption of grace to each other and sometimes to me. And you all will know not to put smack in the chat because we don't do that here. Let's see. I'm just all right. I'm gonna go through the day book in a moment. But first, an ad from our friends at Cozy Earth. Do you guys have that picture I sent over the weekend? Maybe you do. Do you have the picture I sent? If you do, you're going to put it up. Anyway, right now you can get 20% off everything on Cozy Earth. Go to CozyEarth.com. Use the promo code 2WMM. The Cozy Earth Baja bedding sheets available. Now, this is the picture I wanted. Those of you listening on the podcast version, I pity you because you're not seeing this extraordinary picture of our two friends who love Cozy Earth products. They love the Bubble Cuddle blanket. These two puppies, and as you can see, holding hands on the striped sheets. Striped sheets available, 20% off everything on the site, including those extraordinary sheets. The dogs are not available. 20% off. Go to CozyEarth.com. Bubble Cuddle blanket, which those two puppies also love. You can get the pants. Got a great email from a source over the weekend who went to a big political meeting wearing the Cozy Earth pants, and he said all anybody was saying to him was how much they like the pants. Anyway, if you like Cozy Earth products, now's the time to save 20% off. And if you haven't tried them, go to CozyEarth.com. Promo code 2WMM. All right, let's rush into the day book, gentlemen, because it's a big day at the White House where the president at 3 o'clock has a TV interview in the Roosevelt Room. Hogan, do you know what that's about? Who he's doing an interview with?
I don't.
Could be Newsmax, could be Two-Way. We just don't know. And then he's got a policy meeting at 5:30, so we'll see what comes out of that. The vice president, fresh off his long trip at the Olympics, where he and his family enjoyed many an event, is off to Armenia. First sitting at this hour, meeting with the prime minister. You guys both know who the Armenian prime minister is, as well as you know how to identify Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga, Nicole Pashinyan. Anyway, I read this morning, first sitting president or vice president ever to go to Armenia. Seems kind of incredible. Bobby, yeah? Sorry, when are you saying something? Bobby Kennedy, around the 1-year anniversary of his taking office, has a speech at Heritage Foundation today, fireside chat about the Maha agenda. Ghislaine Maxwell at 10 today will take the Fifth Amendment. All these headline Maxwell testifying, they should say Maxwell refuses to testify. She's not going to say anything we're told. She's going to take the Fifth in a virtual deposition from her minimum security prison. We'll see if anything comes out of that. As the House and Senate negotiators try to figure out how to get a deal done to keep Department of Homeland Security from shutting down. You talk about your forcing mechanisms. Congress, if they're going to do something hard that requires bicameral, bipartisan White House a deal, you need a forcing mechanism. Christmas is a good one. There's some others. Shutdowns are usually pretty good. The Munich conference is this weekend. And Hogan can tell you, Jaime can tell you, members of Congress, they love their Munich conference. They just, for some reason, they just love that thing. So they all want to go on Thursday night to Munich, to the big international security conference. They won't going to happen. Hogan, it's not going to happen? No?
No, because remember, if any part of the government is shut down, there is no foreign travel, there is no code.
Yeah, but that's why they have to solve it by Thursday night. So I think
It's an incentive.
it's a big incentive. Guys, there's going to be another CR, right? They're going to make enough progress that Democrats will agree to another CR of a week or two. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah. Hogan, you
Probably.
agree with
I
that?
don't
All right.
know.
All right. Opening arguments in that landmark social media addiction trial in Los Angeles today. And then here's what's happening this week. Vice President Harris's book tour goes back, Macon, Georgia, then Montgomery, Alabama, Wednesday, Georgia, Thursday, Alabama. Prime Minister Netanyahu was supposed to come to Washington next week, is coming on Wednesday, talk to the president about Iran to make sure that in addition to talking about their nuclear program, they're talking about their missile program and talking about their terror-sponsored activities. And amongst Jimmy Kimmel's guests this week are Tyler Perry. Bunch of other guests I'm not really sure about. All right, let's talk about the all the sports politics stuff. A lot of sports at the two more things I wanted to tell you about right here at the top. Two of our great friends of the two-way in the news or on our minds, whatever. First of all, Elizabeth Pipko was here like a week ago. She was on Two-Way Tonight. Here's a little bit of that. This is Elizabeth Pipko, Hogan's former colleague, Trump advisor, communications official. Here's Elizabeth. This is 119. Here's Elizabeth, as always, coming on, big smile on her face. Nothing out of the ordinary. Turned out, ladies and gentlemen, she was about to give birth. And she announced on Instagram, much to our surprise, she didn't tell us, 118, that she just had a baby. And she quoted Charlie Kirk in this great photo of her cute baby. Get married, have children. She got married, I think, 7 years ago. But had a child. So congratulations to Elizabeth and her husband and their family. And then another person who a regular on this platform, AJ Edelman. You can play the AJ. AJ's been on Two-Way Tonight a lot. He's a great guy, very outspoken supporter of Israel, and just a wonderful, wonderful person. Also a member of the Israeli bobsled team and in the Olympics. Here's a great promo video. They haven't raced yet, but here's a great promo video of AJ and his colleagues. You can play some of that.
A story over a decade in the making, Israel bobsled. 3 months ago, 5 Jews, a Druze, and a Shiba Inu took Israel to the ice to fulfill an impossible dream.
Some call them shul runnings or the little sled that could. Truly just an inspiring run for a team that has made the impossible possible.
A story that can be described as only in Israel. Blood, sweat, tears, and a massive dose of never say never.
All right. You saw AJ there in the video. Unfortunately, they were robbed in Italy over the weekend. Their accommodations were robbed. They lost a bunch of stuff. Very sad, but we're rooting for them. AJ, go win a gold so everybody can cheer you on. Anyway, I wanted to acknowledge the two of them. All right. In the Olympics, some athletes said negative things about the United States. President Trump didn't like that at the halftime show in the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny was loved by every Democrat, at least every Democrat on TV and social media. Here's New York Times. Americans at the Olympics can't escape the politics at home. The 232 Americans competing at the Winter Games have trained for years, traveled thousands of miles, and are ready to give their best on the ice and snow in northern Italy. But politics, perhaps inevitably, is intruding on their Olympic moment. A lot of controversy over the vice president and whether he was booed or not. Some conservatives claim he wasn't. I'm not sure how they're making that claim. In any event, because it's right there on the audio, in any event, the Bad Bunny performance celebrated by the left, celebrated as just a great watershed moment for multiculturalism. You can see, as you're watching here, some of the performance. You got it. Technically, it was brilliant. I don't know. Forget all the criticism. Now, the president hated it, and of course, there was an alternative show. Republican. Here's the president's social media post, said it was ridiculous and horrible, and of course, for at least the third time, he attacked the NFL new kickoff rule, which is my favorite obsession of the president's. But people on the right were divided. Here's the Paul brothers are divided. Jake and his brother don't agree. Jake Paul said, purposely turning off the halftime show. And Logan Paul said, I love my brother, but I don't agree with this. Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. Here's someone else who doesn't think the right should be running down the performance. This is Alexis Wilkins, 109. She's an influencer, I think. She also happens to be Kash Patel's girlfriend, but she's an influencer in her own right. I think that's what she's. Hogan, right? She's a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Is that what she is? She's an influencer?
Yeah, sure. She's
Yeah.
a
Okay.
singer. She's a very popular
singer.
singer.
That's what she is. I knew she had a whole other career. Alexis Wilkins is a singer, and here's what she says in response to the DNC's extraordinarily lush photo of Mr. Bunny, and she says, "Unpopular: Republicans need to unite and get on better messaging because this branding is fantastic." She's talking about the Democratic branding and allows all Dems to get behind it. Also, super aesthetic. Couldn't agree with Alexis Wilkins more. Democrats are united. The branding is fantastic, and the aesthetic was incredible. I mean, again, I don't know who the actual producer of that thing was, but that was a triumph of live programming. Really, just incredible. So, Hogan, you first, because your party's divided. Going forward, should your party be running down Bad Bunny, the most popular artist in the world, or celebrating him and not caring that the halftime show happened to be in Spanish, a language spoken by many people in North America, Latin America?
Yeah. I don't know. It seems a little.
Would you agree with your friend Alexis or not?
In part, I think it was a bad choice for the halftime show. Do you remember the one, the Super Bowl in Detroit not too long ago? I'm thinking to myself, what a great opportunity to have like Motown or Eminem or, someone there that has Motown. You could talk about Michigan, whatever. And they went with like The Who or some like four. I don't understand for the life of me. And while the NFL wants to have like a more global brand, I get it. But at the same time, Puerto Rico, obviously part of the United States. I don't like that the whole thing was in Spanish. Call me what you want to call me.
I want to hear from Jaime so badly, but I need to ask you a follow. Why does it matter? Why are people so offended that it's in Spanish? It's a halftime show. It's not a government document.
No.
You might go see the Mikado, and that'd be in Japanese. Like, why are people? Why? I'm being serious. Why are people bothered by that?
Yeah. Well, I think because football is an American sport. English is our language officially. You have to learn English to become an American citizen. So it makes a little sense that it would be in English, and you'd want more people to enjoy that. Considering it's a homegrown sport, you want a homegrown.
But Hogan, do you know that the most popular artist in the world now sings regularly in Spanish, and people seem to be able to enjoy that?
Yeah, you're making two different arguments. I understand it's globally significant. I understand global artists speak in other languages. I'm saying this is an American sport. It's halftime at the American Super Bowl. Theoretically, you'd want someone, and quite frankly, you want to understand it. I'd love to hear what the lyrics are. I'd love to understand what he's trying to say.
All right, I won't speak for Hogan, but I'll speak for the president. They're trying to turn this into a Fox News, like they're canceling Christmas, like there's some cultural outrage. I'm wondering how big an opportunity you think this is for Democrats to take advantage of the attitude of Hogan and his friend the president.
Hey, Mark and Hogan, good to see you guys. I'm not sure where we even arguing at this point and what we're debating, honestly. I'm a little biased. I thought it was a fantastic show. I've been a fan of Bad Bunny's since 2021, 2020. And I'm a huge fan of Puerto Rico. I go there every year. So those are my disclaimers. However, I can understand where Hogan's coming from and some other people. I was talking to some friends yesterday. I'm saying my dad was probably upset it was all in Spanish because he doesn't speak Spanish. But that's not the point. The point is Bad Bunny is the biggest artist right now. Reggaeton is the largest growing music genre right now. And to your point, Hogan, the NFL is trying to expand internationally. And Spanish language, aside from America, Spanish language is still widely spoken across the world. And so I understand what you're saying about NFL being a homegrown franchise in the Super Bowl. But this was a cultural moment, and Bad Bunny brought the heat. And not only did he bring the heat, he was so lovely and he was so kind. The words that he said in Spanish and English were some of the most important words. God bless America. And so I welcome Bad Bunny. I welcome Puerto Ricans. I want to make sure that as we're expanding sort of the American cultural footprint, we bring the Puerto Ricans into this culture even more. And if you haven't been to Puerto Rico, you should go, and you should be proud that Puerto Rico is an American territory.
Okay, but hold on. I just want to make. I want to, Jaime. I loved everything you said, but I want you to answer my question. Is this a huge? Is this a blunder? Just in pure politics, is this a blunder by the Republicans that will have resonance for Hispanic voters in the United States? Will help your party.
I think so. I mean, think about this, Mark. This is the same party that spent the last 5 years talking about the inroads that they made with the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
And then they've spent the last 2 weeks, 2 months lambashing the largest Latina artist, maybe of all time. And so at some point, it's going to be, some incongruent messaging from the Republican side, because you can't say that you want to expand your electorate and bring sort of those Spanish-speaking voters into the fold when you don't celebrate an artist that they've loved and that they really respect. And so at some point, it does become a political liability for the Republicans, and probably really soon.
Hogan.
It's two different things, because we've made inroads into the Latino community in large part because we were protecting against illegal aliens coming into this country, jumping in front of those who are doing it the right way, paid the money, have assimilated it into this country. So those two cultural differences notwithstanding, I guess it's almost like it's a job at this point. The halftime show is one that kind of no one wants. It's like responding to the State of the Union from the opposite party. It's like you're kind of destined to fail because half of the country's going to hate it regardless. So I don't really know that it matters that much, because you're not watching the Super Bowl for the halftime show anyway. But from a larger geopolitical argument, I get what you're saying, Jaime, for sure. Whatever, man. Look, he did the whole thing in Spanish. We'll let the people decide whether they want to watch it or not. I know a lot of people flipped over to the TPUSA counter programming show as well. So I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
I try not to overreact, and if Bruce Springsteen were dispositive, John Kerry would be president. But I cannot believe the level of attacks, and I just think they're counterproductive. Just don't watch it. But the other thing I'll say is, Bad Bunny is a genius, because there's so much political stuff in there, so many dog whistles in there, like the little 5-year-old boy standing in for Liam and saying God bless America, but meaning all of the Americas, not just the United States. It was genius dog whistling, but done in a subtle way where people couldn't say. I haven't heard anybody say, even the president didn't say he's politicized the thing. He just said didn't like it in Spanish. Genius. Guy's a genius.
I spent like 5 years trying to get Bad Bunny to come campaign for Democratic candidates, and he wouldn't do it. And even when Joe Biden was the president. So I think Bad Bunny does not want this to be politicized. I think what Bad Bunny would like to see is for Puerto Ricans, other folk who are from the Latin diaspora, be treated like either first-class citizens, Americans, or give some sort of respect. I don't think it's about Democrat and Republican politics. So I think that's the thing, Mark, why I didn't answer your question early on. Yeah. Bad Bunny's not like, I'm going to campaign for the DNC.
He did endorse Kamala Harris in reaction to a comedian's joke about Puerto Rico.
Yeah, but that was irrespective to him endorsing the DNC or Democrats. I think he felt very strongly about that moment.
Yeah.
And so I don't think he's like trying to divide the country at all in political faults.
He felt strongly about a joke. All right, we got to move on. Epstein. Tons going on with Epstein. Ro Khanna and Mr. Massey are going to the Justice Department today to read the redacted documents, unredacted. They're not allowed to bring electronic devices. The craziest thing in the world. It's like 1940. They're allowed to go there and review them, and they can take notes, but they can't take pictures. They can't photocopy anything. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we'll see what comes out of that. We mentioned already Maxwell's going to take the fifth today. The Clintons continue to fight with the Republican House about the terms of modalities of their upcoming expected testimony. Keir Starmer lost his chief of staff over the weekend. This morning, his comms director quit, and widely expected. Lori, he's going to be gone by the end of the week, I think. So George Mitchell, this didn't get much coverage. George Mitchell was booted from a bunch of his affiliations because of his appearance in there. And there's one other thing going on. Well, there's a lot of investigative work, of reporting work. Every day, people, major and minor news organizations are pulling out documents that haven't gotten much attention yet and connecting some dots. Jaime, what do you, if you're just interested in understanding where the story's going, what's the next big thing you think's happening on this?
Well, I think one thing we have to admit this thing's not going anywhere. And as much as we've all tried to move past it or get through it or sort of bring it front of mind so we can watch it out. This is not going anywhere, and it's permeated to the zeitgeist and to American everyday culture. And so I think a couple things are going to happen. This thing every single day, the more we get into the primary season of the 2026 midterms, the closer we get to the election, the more that candidates, both the Republicans and Democrats, are going to have to choose a talking point on this, which means it's going to continue to grow. And so Ro Khanna, who would like to be president, we all know that. I think he's going to continue to use this as one of the legs of his stool to be on TV to talk about what's going on with President Trump and others Republicans. But I think it's going to continue to become a real big dividing line between Democrats and Republicans. However, it's going to also become a big dividing line between Republicans. Republicans who are on the front line who want to be reelected are going to have some sort of salient message to either distance themselves from this chaos or continue to protect the president and protect other Republicans who may be named in this. And so this is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to be something that's going to be a litmus test for where people stand on either side of this. And I think what I'm really, really, really afraid of, I was, I don't know, maybe I was in a coffee shop last week, and the number of regular people that are talking about this that don't have the context of it. And so the conspiracy theories have grown complete. I mean, there was some connection I heard last week to Savannah Guthrie's family, coming from. So there's all kind of things that are being said both on the internet and in real life. And so this thing is going to continue to grow. It's going to be a big conversation for 2026, and Republicans are going to try to have to, decide where they stand on it.
Hogan.
I don't know how what hoi polloi coffee shops you frequent. I'll tell you, the ones that I go to, no one even knows what's going on with the Epstein stuff. It still ranks really, really low in polling as far as a major issue is concerned. I will say it is a little confusing because every day tends to be something that comes out new. Now there's some orange figure carrying some orange coming into the frame, and then the video now is showing another person. A claim was made by one of the guards that he was actually taken out of the jail cell that night. Now they can't find the noose at all. They said he was brought down from a hanging position.
Well, and in that litany, just add, there's a Justice Department draft press release dated the day before Epstein allegedly killed himself, talking about how he killed himself. I think they just misdated it, but
well, okay, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know what's real and what's a fake on the internet anymore. Like, this whole thing.
I know, but Hogan, where's it going, Hogan?
Well, but here's where I'm going, which I think is where it's going. Number one, and I appreciate the attempts to tether it to Republicans and Trump. However, Democrats had it for 4 years and did nothing with it. We wouldn't be having this conversation but for a Republican Congress and for a Republican Trump administration getting this information out to the public. The problem, though, is from the start, Republicans really kind of went whole hog on this, that Democrats were protecting people in the last election cycle for 4 years under Joe Biden. And so now they have the keys. They've got all the information. And now the Republicans who went really all in on the Epstein stuff are like, wait a minute. It's not what I thought it was. Thus, there must be some even grander conspiracy now with our own people. Like, it just never stops. And so I'm right. It's going to continue on. Now, how much of it becomes an actual campaign issue, I don't really know. And the Clinton show is going to be what Clintons always are, a big show. Hopefully now, between when he first got deposed and the current issue with the Comer Committee, he'll learn the definition of is. So maybe that'll be some breaking news. But I don't know that it continues more than just kind of underneath the surface with people just throwing barbs at each other and giving Massey and Khanna a chance to look at these documents. I don't think helps at all, but whatever.
Okay, we'll see. I'm interested to see what those guys do with their handwritten notes when they come out of there. Because the redactions are ridiculous. I mean, just on the merits, they just horribly.
You can't release something and have the pages of it look like Turn 4 at Talladega and then expect people to be okay with it, right? You have to take those names. You have to show those names.
I think Hogan made a really good point earlier. At this point, what's the goal of this whole thing? What are we trying to accomplish? I think originally on the Democratic side, there was some, thoughts that we're trying to get some justice for those who were survivors. And now this is becoming, we don't know what's real anymore. We don't know what's fake. And the conspiracy theories are growing out of the wazoo.
Yes, those who say there have been three stories like this that I've seen. Europe is having accountability. People are losing their jobs, but it's not happening in the U.S. Trust me, folks, it's happening in the U.S. It's already happened to some. George Mitchell, Larry Summers, there are more coming. Plenty of people in the United States are going to lose their jobs over this. All right, the economy. The president said in his interview with NBC over the weekend, it's his economy. It's no longer the Biden economy. Kind of more clearly than he'd ever said it. Some good economic news continues to come out, along with the less good. Americans expect the stock market and the economy to improve. Majorities, 50 and 49%. They are worried about higher inflation. And rents now have fallen for 32 consecutive months. That's part of CPI, obviously. So that's good. But there's also great concern about the economy. As it marries up to the midterms, the White House relying on people's taxes. Really unclear where this is headed. Great story in the Washington Post, great, solid, that just ran this morning about how people don't know in the Republican Party what exactly the president's midterm plans are. How's he going to spend the tens of millions of dollars he's raised on the midterms? Is he going to endorse John Cornyn? A lot of concern in the Republican Party right now. Here's Kevin Hassett this morning on Squawk Box talking about the economy.
And whether the president now owns this economy. Does the president now officially own this economy?
Right. I mean, yes, of course he does. The president is the leader of the free world, and he's the leader of this economy. The bottom line is that there are some things that moved in the last couple of years that haven't recovered. So, for example, there's a big truck going by all of a sudden. So, for example, there was 20-something% inflation, and we've got inflation way down. Incomes are up, real incomes are growing, but we haven't filled the hole from the inflation. So, is it Trump's economy or Biden's economy?
Right.
I think that at some point, it's you need to just slow down and say, okay, so when we're talking about whose economy it is, that whose economies whose economy is the policy being driven right now? Who's going to manage the policy going forward? Who's going to give you the State of the Union in a few weeks that says, here's what's going to happen over the next few months and years? And for that, it's definitely Trump's economy.
All right, definitely Trump's economy. Two other data points, Hogan. Dow hit 50,000, highest ever. The president said it'll go to 100,000 while he's in office. And Bitcoin has just collapsed, and people have lost millions and millions of dollars, even as the Trumps and the Witkoffs have gotten very wealthy off Bitcoin. So, Hogan, what's the connection between the midterms and the economy going forward?
Oh, I think it's going to be a messaging battle for sure, because Democrats are going to continue to use the word, and very smartly done, by the way, affordability, which means absolutely nothing. It's the fake, fictitious feeling, because regardless of what cost is, if it's high or low, I can say it's not affordable, and then rally some support around that message. The real issue to me are prices. Have they gone up or have they gone down? They're measurable, quantifiable. That's what people are going to care about. Now, feeling matters too for the electorate. The worst thing you can do to a voter is tell them what they are feeling is not real. That's a problem. So what the Republicans have to do, starting with State of the Union, I think some of this stuff is happening at the local level. A lot of these members of Congress out selling the Big Beautiful Bill and other pieces of legislation, is explain, here's what has happened, here's what is going to happen, and now we are running on fill in the blank to make sure it continues to improve your life. Those are the types of things you have to focus on in the midterm. The economy will most assuredly dictate wins and losses across the board for both the House Republicans and House Senate as well.
Ima.
Yeah.
Or
No,
Senate Republicans, not House Senate.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I agree. I agree with Hogan. Look, with albeit just one aspect of his messaging, I think affordability is a real thing, and I think you explained it quite well what it is. And when you go out into these states and you go out and hang out with people who are not in the Beltway, who are not hanging out in New York and LA, most people understand affordability is a real word. It's not just a political football. When you think about what's been happening over the last few years, costs are up across the board. You think about if you're paying $25 more for your diabetes medication than you were the previous year, that's going to add up over the course of 12 months if you are just receiving Social Security or disability or whatever that one-time check is a month. And so these are real indicators. And so what we're going to see over the next couple of weeks is Democrats for sure are going to try to really put a stake in defining what it means around these costs, around affordability, and around the economy. Now, here's the thing that, to your point, Hogan, what Director Hassett just he sounded like like he was working for the Biden administration just now. These are the same things that I spent literally 2 years on TV trying to explain that, everyone who wanted a job had a job. They're bringing costs down. Inflation was still too high. Costs were still too high. There were still indicators on that economy that we couldn't quite sort of get to where we needed to be because we had just decimated it with COVID the years prior. And so this is Kevin Hassett standing there saying, "Oh, there's still so much we need to do. Give us some time." Joe Biden said the same thing. And while I agree, the economy is in a decent place, and to Mark's point about the 32 months of lowering rent costs, that's because Joe Biden and the Democrats were working on this specifically before he ended his first term. And what they thought is if Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were going to have a second term, we were also going to be able to get there and make this economy hum and bring those costs down. And so if Donald Trump and his administration are going to get on TV and say, "Give us time, give us time, give us time," but when Republicans are running in these districts and these individuals who have already spent $1,000 more than they wanted to spend this year, that's not going to be a salient message. You got to say, look, we know that the costs are too high. We told you that we're going to bring them down on day one. We lied to you, but give us a little bit more time and see what people are going to say. So I think what people are going to measure the Republicans against is Donald Trump saying through the entire 2024 campaign that he would lower costs on day one. That has not happened. That is not true.
The point Jaime made, I think, is interesting because he said affordability is real, and then he said the cost of drugs are up $25. Right, that's a cost. That's measurable. That's
well,
not
if you can afford it, Hogan. Here's the thing: your paycheck is $25, and that's just what it is. And then your drug costs go up by $10, and your paycheck does not go up. Then that's why you can't afford it. It's basic economics.
I understand that.
It's not a filling. It's basic economics.
Right, but if a cup of coffee is $5 at your bougie coffee shop, for example, you frequent, and I can afford that. I still can afford it, but I don't like it. It's not something that I appreciate, and I can say it's unaffordable. Now, if the price goes down to $3, I can say, look, we have lowered costs. And what the Republicans have to do is say, look, remember where we were in 2019. Do you remember you were paying $5 for gasoline a gallon? Do you remember inflation was at 9%? Do you remember interest rates were way higher? Now it's all lower, and we have brought them down, and we work together to do that. Yeah. Now, moving forward, here's our plan to keep it coming down so that we can erase all the failures of the Biden administration.
All right. We got to move on. Thank you both.
You asked for the messaging.
I understand.
Your show.
I understand. All our shows. Everybody here. Raise your hand if you want in on the conversation in a moment. As if we didn't feel bad enough for Savannah and her family, before this weekend, the heartbreaking video that they made over the weekend left some people believing that they're going to pay ransom to get back by tonight's deadline Savannah's mom, and other people looking at the language believing that they now believe she's passed away and they're simply trying to recover her body. That's a reality that you'll hear some places, but not every place. That's how people are interpreting the language in some quarters. Also, something you won't hear in some places is almost every member of the media believes they know who the suspect is, and they're not saying it publicly. Over the weekend, they did another search of Savannah's sister and brother-in-law's home. Not clear why that is. We don't know very much about what's going on, in part because the sheriff said there are no briefing. No briefings are planned today or in the future unless they have major developments. And we'll see about tonight's deadline. I believe it's 7 Eastern time is the deadline. We'll see if something happens by then. This is a massive media story. The president on Air Force One on Friday said he expected some major developments happening soon, and that suggested it had to do with the federal investigation, but so far there's been nothing out of that. So, Jaime, what do you expect to happen in this case today and this week?
I don't know. It's so sad, but it's also one of those stories where it's also begun to grow its own legs as well, and everyone started talking about it in their own way. There's a lot of conspiracies. I think we just have to give this family the room and the respect to get through this and try not to, if we can't be helpful with getting to a conclusion and bringing Nancy back home, I think we got to sort of quiet down on the conspiracies a little bit and give Savannah and her family some respect and just, and just pray. My mom's name is Nancy as well. And so she's been praying and we've been praying for them as much as we can. And I think that's all we can do at this point.
Hogan.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I'm friends with Savannah. I was texting with her. This is more horrific. It seems it gets more horrific by the day. What a tragic, sad story in so many ways. In Savannah, if I'm not mistaken, Mark, was a court TV reporter, is kind of where she kind of got in. So
Yeah.
she knows a lot of these things that other reporters wouldn't know because she covered cases like this in the past. Also, one of the reporters who's done some good work on this, Ashley Banfield, a friend of mine too, who I was her intern in Dallas back in 1999, if that tells you how long I've been doing this. She does a lot of work too and has great sourcing. She's making some claims about the brother-in-law. I don't know if any of that's true, but there's a lot going on in this space. And I think there's clearly more information that the family knows and some of the people really close to this situation actually know than they're telling the rest of us. And that's fine. This is up to the family. It's a situation that they're facing. And I'm praying against everything that this poor woman is alive and this family can heal afterwards.
Yeah. In addition to Savannah's great experience and connections, her husband is one of the country's most accomplished crisis communications expert. Used to be Al Gore's chief of staff, and so they fortunate to be able to have information and a lot of help on this, but all behind the scenes and all quietly. And we'll see where we end up by the end of the day. All right, we're going to speed through some stuff, and then again to people's questions. Either of you see anything happening this week on Iran or Russia, Ukraine, or just all incremental this week?
I think we'll see what happens on Wednesday with the president, with the two presidents.
Yeah. Prime Minister and President. Yes.
Prime Minister.
Okay. Mike Bloomberg gave $2.5 million to Josh Shapiro for his reelect campaign. And he gives a lot. He doesn't give as much as Elon necessarily, but he gives a lot. Giving money to Shapiro is interesting in terms of will he support him for 28, but it also raises the question of whether Bloomberg will be a big donor in 26 to other Democrats. Haima, anyone who's worked at the DNC has gazed to the Upper East Side of Manhattan and wondered where's more money for Mike Bloomberg. If he believes in Democrats, he's got basically unlimited money. What's your sense? Is Mike Bloomberg going to be a big funder of Democrats in 26?
I hope so. We're still waiting for some of those checks from 2020. But look, I've heard from some of his people, and I think he is trying to figure out his strategy. Mike Bloomberg is sort of in a legacy laying sort of phase of his life as well. So he's trying to figure out which of these sort of good governance candidates he can support. He really likes Shapiro. He thinks that he's sort of the right kind of governor at this moment. And so I think he's going to be pretty prolific this cycle. Just not quite sure how and where. But they are looking right now. They're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Hogan, how are your billionaires going to do compared to Haima's billionaires?
The billionaire on billionaire crime ought to be epic this upcoming cycle for sure. Look, I think these candidates will have plenty of money. Democrats typically have way more support from millionaires and billionaires than Republicans do, and quite frankly, outspend us in a lot of ways in these states too. Don't shake your head. No, that is 100%.
Your billionaires do just fine, Hogan.
Hogan's a spin.
Oh, they do just
so
fine.
good.
They do just fine. I'm just saying, like Republicans typically are way behind in that demographic.
I don't believe that's correct, but I'll pull the data and bring it to you.
I will pull it. I'll send you the data.
Yeah, I think your billionaires do more. All right, John Ossoff gave a speech in Atlanta over the weekend. That was spectacular. If you haven't watched the whole 30 minutes and you're interested in American politics, go watch the whole thing. It was brilliantly written. Talked about the Epstein class. It's compared it said the president what he posted about the Obamas was like a Klansman. It talked about the economy. It was optimistic. Ossoff's incredible that he got elected. Some people say he got elected on the coattails of Senator Warnock, but he is heavily favored to be reelected. He's raised a ton of money. The Republicans have a three-way primary, almost certainly will have a runoff. None of those are world beaters. There are a lot of Republicans who are Senate strategists who have given up or close to giving up on the Georgia race. This is incredible. This is a young Jewish American liberal His voting record is liberal, ladies and gentlemen, and he is in an incredible position. And that speech was sent to me. I watched the whole thing twice. Like I'm watched Bad Bunny twice. I watched this twice because it's a really important speech for messaging for the Democrats and potentially for Ossoff to run in 28. Now, some people say to me, no, I'm a little bit exuberant here about how serious a person Ossoff is, that he's not actually that serious a person. Jaime, you'll go first on this one because it's your team. Am I overreacting to one speech, or is this guy actually underrated as a political force?
Well, I think we'll see. He's going to get through this race first. But I worked for John Ossoff in 2017 when he ran for Congress and lost to Karen Handel. And so I've spent a lot of time with John Ossoff and have a great deal of respect for him. He is one of the most effective communicators you will find. And so I think what's happened years while he's been in the Senate, he's had to grow and learn and sort of build a portfolio. His resume was a little light before he became a senator. Yeah. Let's just be honest. And I really like him and respect him. But he's really grown into this role really well. And he and Senator Warnock have been really great partners for Georgia. But I've watched Ossoff in his office. He has fantastic people working for him, both on the ground in Georgia and here in the Senate. And he's gotten really, really, really smart on politics. And so I think John Ossoff may organically become an option for 2028 based on how he runs his campaign. Yeah. I mean, look, he basically cleared the field in Georgia and didn't allow for any big viable Republican to run. And so that's going to be a big deal. And two, when I got several text messages over the weekend, one from my friend who's been a sort of a despondent Democratic donor, and she just sends me so inspired. And so, look, I think Democrats are going to use that as a moment of getting re-engaged and inspiration. I think we're getting above, we're getting way beyond our skis by saying he's going to be a 2028 contender. But there's a world that John Ossoff could be the vice president someday. There's a world that John Ossoff could run in 2032. Yep.
Yes, sir. All right, let's look at a clip of it. I'm telling you, if you're a fan of this program and what we talk about here, go watch all 30 minutes. It's on YouTube. Here's a little bit of John Ossoff from over the weekend that Hogan will dissect.
Now, you remember, we were told that MAGA was for working class Americans. You remember that? But this is a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich. It is the wealthiest cabinet ever. This is the Epstein class ruling our country. They are the elites they pretend to hate. So prices are up, jobs are going away, Medicaid and school lunches are slashed, nursing homes are getting defunded. If you're Steve Bannon, and your pitch was Trump for the forgotten man and woman, how do you sell any of this? Trump was supposed to fight for the working class. Instead, he's literally closing rural clinics and hospitals to cut taxes for George Soros and Elon Musk. He was supposed to end the globalist world police foreign policy. Instead, we're doing war for oil and nation building again and threatening to conquer Greenland. He was supposed to drain the swamp. Instead, this is the most corrupt administration of all time, and everybody knows it. Okay. Everybody knows it.
Hogan, just this political athlete ranking, how would you rank that? He took some factual liberties, but not many. Not many.
Factual liberties is the best description of a lie I've ever heard, and I'm stealing it and using it from now until eternity. Listen, he is very talented. I have not seen, I saw parts of this clip online, I've not seen a smoothness and a delivery of information that's so untrue since Bill Clinton. Very smooth. Also a propensity not to tell the truth. I will tell you, as you know, Mark, the saying, and Jaime knows this too, what every senator sees when they look in the mirror is a president. There's no question he's angling for running for president. But I will tell you this, one speech does not a presidential candidate make. And as my friend Rick Perry can attest to, you can oops yourself off that stage pretty quick. because the lights get really hot and the stage is really big. Everything is fixated on you. So should you decide to make that leap and should you decide to run for it, good. I mean, I think anyone who thinks they have the talent and the chops to do it should do it. But it's a rougher road than just giving a speech to your buddies in Georgia.
I understand, but I'll tell you something about him. Like Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, that guy's a political operative. He could be the manager of a presidential campaign.
Oh, yeah. No, he's an operative.
Like I said, I staffed him for interviews and all this in 2017. This was almost 10 years ago. He was great then. He's excellent, and now he's going to keep getting better. And also, you have to realize this too. Before my old boss Jamie Harrison hit that the most raise for a congressional candidate, John Ossoff in 2017 had raised more money than ever in the history for a congressional candidate. So not only he's good as orator, he's also a good fundraiser.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that some Republicans say he can't be beat in Georgia, a red purple state, is incredible. And it's testament to how aggressive he's been, the coalition he's building. And remember, in any southern state, including Jaime's, if the Democratic candidate can swell black turnout by 5%, can't lose. Can't lose. And he's going to swell black turnout by 5%. I'm confident. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. We'll see. Quick word from a sponsor. Then to your questions, please raise your hand if you want in on the conversation. 25% off everything from CB Distillery. If you're trying to sleep better, if you're trying to deal with pain after exercise, if you're trying to deal with the mood being a little off. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you something that 2 million Americans have tried, and it has worked for them. I'm trying to do my John Ossoff invitation here. 2 million. Don't be part of the Epstein class. Be part of the CB Distillery class. Go to cbdistillery.com, promo code 2WMM to get 25% off everything off the site. 2 million happy customers have benefited from their products. You can use my promo code 2WMM for 25% off to join them. Third-party tested, free from artificial dyes and fillers. Premium quality products that can help you natural solution to sleeping better and enjoying life better, less stress. Break the vicious cycle of stress and no sleep. Go to cbdistillery.com. Use the promo code 2WMM, cbdistillery.com. Promo code 2WMM. Thank you for your attention to that matter. Mike, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are and what's on your mind for Jaime and for Hogan.
Hey, guys.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask a Texas question.
Yes, sir.
I think you mentioned that Trump was possibly going to endorse Cornyn. Why not Wesley Hunt? And if he doesn't get the Senate primary win, what do you think his political future is?
For Wesley Hunt?
Yeah.
Great question. I have my own view of this, but Hogan, you first. What's going on? Why wouldn't the president follow John Thune's implorements? Implorements, is that a word? I don't know. Why wouldn't he endorse the guy who everybody believes is the strongest general election candidate? He's an incumbent. And if you endorse him and he wins the nomination, you don't have to spend $100 million protecting the seat.
Who are you talking about, Cornyn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think their process there at the White House with his political team is to take a look at these races in totality. It's not just now who can win a primary, but who can win a general. I think they've learned a lot of lessons over the years of candidates matter, establishment, not candidates, but establishing rather a good apparatus to do the non-sexy parts of politics, the turnout, the voter calls, the voter contacts, the door knocking, the ballot, wherever states you can ballot harvest and those types of things. Having people on the ground that can do that, I think they're just looking at the field and deciding to kind of stay pat for a little bit and see what happens and jump in and help.
Primary's next month.
Yeah, and I don't know who's going to get involved in the primary.
All right, and if Congressman Hunt loses, what's his future look like?
Did he have to drop his seat to run?
I believe so. I
think so.
Is running,
yeah.
For that.
I mean,
I think you have to. Both federal offices.
He's talented. He's attractive. He's an incredible speaker. He fires me up every time I see him. Who knows? He may run for something else. He may get into the private sector and make a ton of money. Who knows?
Yeah, Jaime.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I saw Wesley Hunt in the airport recently, and when I was going to Houston. But I think he's very talented. I think he has a future in Republican politics. And look, we got to think about this too. President Trump is still going to be president for 3 more years, and there at some point will be some musical chairs in the cabinet, and he's going to have people like Wesley Hunt to look at for potential cabinet positions if they open up.
Yeah, I would say it's incredible to me. Not only does Thune want the president to endorse Cornyn, of course Cornyn does for the primary, but Chris LaCivita and Tony Fabrizio, two of the president's top I'd say two of his top 3 or 5 political advisors are both working on behalf of Cornyn. One for the campaign, one for the super PAC. And the president made some noises the other day that he might endorse. So I really do think he's going to endorse. Yeah.
And this is not saying anything about Wesley Hunt. I'm just saying, you're a Texas guy, obviously. A lot of times you see a candidate like Ossoff, for example, you're like, man, that guy would be a great president. He could do all these things. But people around him or locally go, let me tell you about some shady stuff that if he were to run and the spotlight gets hot, then all of a sudden these things come out. So there could be, I'm not saying that with Wesley, but I'm saying just with candidates in general, you look at them from afar and say, perfect. People around them go, never could survive the scrutiny, because remember, the higher office, the brighter the spotlight. And I look at someone in North Carolina, for example, who was thought to be a really good gubernatorial candidate. And then as he became, went through the ranks, he was lieutenant governor and then ran for governor. Then a lot of stuff started coming out that people knew, but didn't really care about when you were lieutenant governor. It was when you were running for governor that those things really kind of, reared their ugly head.
Yeah. No, let's say a couple things. Go ahead. I'm good.
Well, I was gonna say, I am shocked that the president, and I have been, that he hasn't endorsed Senator Cornyn a bit quicker. I think that's a bit embarrassing for the senior senator who was almost the leader. I mean, think about what just happened in Louisiana with Bill Cassidy and Julia Letlow. I mean, the president, it has been unpredictable in these instances of not supporting incumbent, strong Republican senators.
Yeah. Well, Cassidy did vote to convict the president in an impeachment trial. Cornyn, on the other hand, has been relatively supportive of the president, not 100%, but relatively supportive. I'll say this, the Democratic field is weaker than the press would like you to believe. And of course, Democrats haven't won a statewide race in Texas, I think, since Ann Richards won as governor. So big uphill. But on the other hand, if this is a blue wave year, and if the nominee is Paxson or maybe even Hunt, if he has trouble running statewide, and there's a big blue wave, and whoever the Democrats nominate turns out to be great, and they raise a ton of money online, they could lose the seat. I mean, it's not impossible. Very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. But the other thing about Cornyn is, I'm not sure if the president endorsed him, he wouldn't have to have a runoff. I don't know that even with the president's endorsement, he'd get to 50. So it's possible that the president's waiting to see if Cornyn gets the runoff. And if the runoff's against Paxson, which it probably would be, then maybe he endorses, because the primary's in March, but the runoff's, I think, in May, right?
Yeah.
I think
right?
that's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's plenty of time there. There's no, if the goal of the people, the pro-Cornyn people, are to get Cornyn the nomination, you probably can't get him the nomination until May anyway. So maybe the president's to say, well, let's see how it goes because the president doesn't want to endorse Cornyn because MAGA prefers the other two. So it's not as urgent to endorse him now as it would be till after the runoff. Now, if he doesn't make the runoff, then I think he probably, I don't know what he'd do. Maybe he'd endorse Hunt at that point. I don't know. Mike, thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Well, thank you for saying it's a good point, but I didn't think of it. Somebody pointed it out to me. Professor Kenny, welcome in. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of 2A. Tell people about the after show, either before or after your comments, so everybody knows that it exists and how to join up.
Yeah, I send a link in the chat. If you guys want to join the post show, we have a good community. We keep the discussion going. Jaime, I've been sending you emails, buddy.
I'm gonna join. I have a call immediately after these. That's why I haven't joined yet. Sorry.
And Hogan, you're always invited, and I send you a private chat all the time, but I don't have an email for you, buddy. So if you look at the private chat. Anyway, thank you guys.
I'll give it to you, but I also have a call right after. So.
Yeah, no, I got you. No, hey, whenever you guys can join, we appreciate it. We have a good community, good discussion, both sides of the aisle. So what I want to bring a couple things. Republicans got to spend so much money now in Texas and places like that. That's a big problem in terms of the money they're raising. But I wanted to get to this Epstein thing, and I'm just experiencing this personally from my wife's side of it. It's I really believe that Congress, which they probably will never do, you can't just leave it to Ro Khanna and Massey to go into a room and take napkins and write notes, you know?
I think
Like,
I think they will have some lined paper, but I take your point.
well, you know, the old Carl Bernstein, right? All the president's men take with napkins and coffee,
Yeah.
right? But I really think there should be some kind of bipartisan committee or some kind of committee to sift through all of these documents unredacted,
Yeah.
because there is so much crap out there that, like, it's going to cost me my marriage. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
Professor, what's the goal? Because Haima and Hogan both raised this before. What's
Yeah.
the goal? What's the public goal now to go through those documents? Is it justice for the victims and the accusers, or is there some other goal, or is that the only goal?
well, obviously, Mark, it becomes so politicized. Wait, look at Ossoff, right? The Epstein class. That's very brilliant on his part to go that way. So, of course, as a human being, you want to get justice for the victims. You know, for me, this Epstein thing is not about politics, because it's both sides of the aisle. These rich guys, on whether you're a lefty or a righty, you're a billionaire, you're floating around with Epstein. But the sad thing is, I use an example. Like, let's say I was friends with Bill Clinton back in whatever day, and he goes, "Hey, Professor Kenny, Epstein's a big movie guy. Would you come with me on this trip to, because I'm trying to get money out of Epstein, and I go on this trip with Clinton, and now I'm in the Epstein files, yet I just went on a trip because Epstein wanted to talk about movies." You know what I mean? So we got to get through all of the bullshit and get to the truth, because it's a lot of people are going to get hurt, and the victims are never going to get their justice.
Haima.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think my issue now, Professor King, I completely agree with you. My issue right now is I'm not quite sure how we get there and put the politics aside. What does that look like? Is it some sort of non-elected commission that's going through it and sort of offering, recommendations? I just don't know. And I think both Democrats and Republicans, and I use this very loosely, both have done a good job of studying this subject to the point where no one knows how to get through it, and no one knows really what we're trying to accomplish. No one knows how to sift through the paperwork. No one knows how to read the unredacted implications of this. And so I don't know. I agree with you. I'm just not quite sure, how do we get back on track to get through this? I just don't know.
Oh,
You don't. You don't. Listen, Professor Kennedy, I appreciate the question and the thoughts. This is one of those deals where if you're part of the conspiracy group where you think something is happening, once the information comes out, if it doesn't affirm your conspiracy, you're like, whoa, 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 then clearly there's more information. And by the way, I'm sure there's more information. I'm not trying to say people are wrong in that. Yeah. But unless there's like a list that says, here are the people on the plane, here are the flight logs, here are the women that I trafficked for them, here's the money they paid me, then there's a large group of people out there in this country who go, no, then none of it's real. That's one of the problems with it. And quite frankly, I would say the benefit of being in with conspiracy sometimes is because you don't really have to care about the evidence until your ideas are affirmed, yes. Right? Yes. But these women suffered unspeakable evil. Yep. So I think justice for them is where my mind goes. Whoever caused this, and right now the evidence is Jeffrey Epstein trafficked underage girls to himself. If there is evidence he did that for other people, then by goodness, put it out there and let us see it, because those people deserve to be held accountable for their crimes.
Yeah, the Associated Press, which seems to have pretty comprehensively read through the released files, say so far there is no evidence that they were trafficked to anyone else. Professor,
Mark,
thank you.
Mark, yes, one quick thing I just want to say. Just want to get it on the record. President Trump's tweet last week was totally reprehensible. It was racist. It was wrong. And as a Republican, I'm ashamed.
Thank you for that, sir. And heard a lot of people over the weekend saying the same thing who are Republicans, including some who normally don't speak up against the president for almost anything. Mark Halperin's Wardrobe, not brought to you by Botany 500 or even the Spiegel catalog, but by our friends at Fairway and Green. Go right now, shop the whole catalog, get your stuff with our slogans, our catchphrases on the sleeves and logos, and you get morning meeting, two-way, all available. Go to twoway.tv/fairway, twoway.tv/fairway to shop the entire collection. Haima, what do you got coming up today that we should know about?
I don't know. I'm still running on my Bad Bunny high right now, so I may watch it one more time.
One
But
more
look,
time.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen on Wednesday with the Prime Minister and the President, and so I'm going to be reading about that today just to prepare for that.
Yeah, and do you think the whole thing was live, or do you think pieces of that Bad Bunny thing were recorded?
So, there were pieces that were recorded. There were a couple of things that were inserted if you look back.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you guys, I did watch the Turning Point USA show, not as an entirety, but I did just because I'm a
consumer. Yeah. Hogan, you gonna watch Bad Bunny again today?
Probably not. I did watch Turning Point, but I did that afterwards as well. Watched them both post-production. But today will be focused mainly on getting the House back and figuring out how to get a CR that funds a 4% chunk of the government that is, quite frankly, a very important 4%.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll be talking about that this week. Later tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Two-Way Tonight. We'll be back. Join me for a roundup of today's news, some great guests, and your participation, 5 p.m. And then 7 o'clock, Ethan Suplee's Lifelong. Again, a show you should sample if you haven't watched yet. Ethan, no real health, real community, no BS. David Knapp, founder of On the Pen, will join Ethan at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to invest in this program, you can invest in Two-Way, rather. You can send us an email. Send an email to invest@twoway.tv to join our Series B coming up before too long. And if you want to sponsor this program, Two-Way Tonight, or any of our other shows, send us an email at sponsors@twoway.tv. Tell us about yourself. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Hogan. Thank you, Haima. Be back tomorrow with another episode in 23 hours. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, guys.